Hello everyone and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. Today we will be doing the GT Cup Group 4 races, essentially GT4 cars, but most of them are just Gran Turismo originals, fictional GT4 cars is what they roughly equate to. But anyway, today we're going to be driving the Suzuki Swift. We raced this earlier in the game in one of the menu books, and it was actually a really nice car to drive, so we're going to do it again and beat all of these fancy cars in our little front wheel drive. So let's see how this goes, as we're already gaining some decent momentum along the run towards turn 1. We're going to make the move to the outside, and we're already going to be overtaking a car that is worth hundreds of thousands more than ours. As we try to take a look, we're just barely got more momentum as we head towards turn 2. We'll see how this goes. We'll try and make the move around the outside, a bit late on the brakes though, and we're going to go bouncing off the wall. And that's actually worked out very well for us, because we're up into 3rd position, ducked to the inside and up into 2nd. We may be able to dive for the lead here, big lunge, and we can't quite get there. But that is a great start to the race for us, and we're already up into 2nd position using the barriers there. And it looks like the race leader is quite quick, that GT by Citroen, carrying good speed through turn 4. So early indications say that they will be our main rival. They got slightly better straight line speed through the tunnel as well, so we may have a difficult time here. We'll dive to the inside. They take a very high and wide line, and that actually seems to be working for them. Look at the speed they're carrying through there compared to what we were able to do. That is rather impressive, so perhaps we will be experimenting with that line later on in the race, as we are looking back as well. Getting that bad exit means we have to be on the defensive as we head towards turn 1 and 2. Turn 1 absolutely flat out, you more or less ignore it in terms of the momentum and line you take. You can basically do whatever you want and come out the other side just fine. Same with turn 5, not really an issue. So really there's only 4 significant corners on this track, and we're coming up to one of them right now, probably one of the harder braking zones, and we don't use the brakes at all. We use the barriers to assist us around the corner and try and gain some time back, because I don't think we can achieve the same lap times as that GT by Citroen. So we'll go for the lunge down the inside, and again we just can't quite make it. So we're, even with the help of the barriers, we're not really gaining any time, so we have to barge our way through on the inside, and that is what will get us ahead of the GT by Citroen. Just had to be aggressive there and get the move done, but I highly doubt that's the last we'll see of them, because he's right behind us, and we have the main straight coming up. So we'll see what we can do as we get as close to the barrier, but a bit too close, and we run along the barrier all the way through the final corner, and I don't think that's going to help us at that part of the circus. It's just not sharp enough of a corner for the barrier to be of any aid to us, and that's just cost us time. Bad momentum on the exit. We cover the inside line, but it's not going to do anything, because the GT by Citroen's going to go blazing on through on the right hand side, and we're going to have to duck into the slipstream and maybe go for the move into turn 2 around the outside. We'll see what we can do as we sit in behind the GT by Citroen, and we're going to have to watch out, because I think there are other cars catching as well, but we'll get onto that in a moment as we go for a move around the outside, bouncing off the wall, but we can't quite get there. And now we will have to go for the move into turn 3 as we head over the Cable Stay Bridge. Once again, purple sector for us as we go for the lunge down the inside, but again we just can't quite get there as they're sliding and carrying a little too much speed potentially in the rear wheel drive there. But anyway, we are still in the slipstream, still trying to make this move, and we just can't quite get it done, can't quite complete the overtake, and it's becoming rather a large issue for us. So we'll see how this next lap goes. We've got 2 laps left in this race, so we'll see what we can do. But as of right now, we are behind, and we need to find our way ahead. But I mentioned some other cars are catching up, and that's going to become an issue potentially, as we're losing not just the lead, but we may even lose 2nd position here, because 3rd place is coming up. You can hear them on the left hand side, and we give them the room, and the Ferrari gets through down the inside. We duck straight away back into the slipstream, and now we'll see what we can do along the run towards turn 2 once again. And you know what we're going to do here, we're going to duck to the right and use the barrier to help us carry some more momentum, and that's actually been a really great run for us this time. We go to the left and we'll get back past the GT by Citroen and into the race lead once again, and late on the brakes into turn 3, going a bit wide there, but the position is now ours and we only have to hold on to it for one more lap after this one is finished. So that is absolutely fantastic. Anyway, we're under pressure though as we head out of the tunnel, so we do need to be very careful not to let them back past. We need to try and position our car well through the final left-hander, and we go for a late apex. Probably should have been a little bit later actually, and we're trying to just use that downhill slope to give us a bit more momentum off the corner. It's worked more or less, and that's given us a good enough run onto the main straight that I don't think will be under pressure, at least into turn 1. Turn 2 might be a different story as we head through and hugging the inside line, making sure no one can get underneath us. They're not close enough to be too much of a threat at the moment, but as we head towards turn 2, as I mentioned, that might become an issue. So let's see as we head in towards turn 2, no pressure, and we're just going to utilize the barriers once again because I don't want to let this win slip away from us as we now head over the cable stayed bridge for the final time and into turn 3, late on the brakes and carrying a bit too much speed into there again. So these are little mistakes that could potentially be costly if they happen at the wrong time, but thankfully we're able to hold on. The GT by Citroen a little way behind us now, so I think we've got it no matter what now, as long as we don't manage to spin out or something in the final 2 corners. That would be a bit silly at this point. Turn 5 a non-issue, turn 6 the final corner, and once again going for the later apex. Probably hit the apex even earlier than before, so tightened up the exit a bit, but regardless it doesn't matter because we're in the lead, we've got clear space behind us, and we will come across the line in first position to finally take victory here at High Speed Ring. And that was a pretty tough race, I have to say. Had to use everything we had and more just to come away with the race victory by less than half a second. So yeah, that was a tricky one, but it's done and we can move on to the next one at Brands Hatch. Alright, so we're on the way for the race at Brands Hatch, and we're going to straight away go for the move down the inside into turn 1, and we're going to go for the double pass as we barge our way through and make that move and put ourselves up 2 spots. And we're going to gain a bunch more here, banging and crashing our way through and getting very aggressive there, but up into 4th place we go, and it's not going to stop there. Big lunge down the inside, we can't make anything work there. We're still sitting in 4th position as we shove the Mustang through, and now we'll go for the move down the inside. As we head around the inside of the telephone, we move ourselves up and into 2nd position. So good start for us. Similar to High Speed Ring, we fly through the first group of cars, but the race leader getting away already, so we're going to need to get our head down and try and chase them down as soon as possible before they get too far ahead. So let's see how this goes as we turn right into the box for the first time, and not getting a huge amount of time there, so we'll see how this goes. Big cut there, that's probably not the ideal line, and it was quite bumpy, so that may not have necessarily helped us, especially as we went wide on the exit anyway. But using up as much road as we can and making the most of what we have, and we get a nice run through there. We are chipping away and gaining a bit of time versus the race leader, so we will have the opportunity to get past probably sometime on lap 2. I have lowered the difficulty for this race because I'm certainly not as comfortable with Brands Hatch as I am at High Speed Ring, but it's very easy to go from, you know, something that's very difficult to relatively easy in just by changing the difficulty level down by 1, you know, just by going from hard to normal or from normal to easy. It's a major swing. So yeah, it would be nice if Gran Turismo had a more specific difficulty level that you could choose. You know, maybe not quite like the F1 game where you have 110, you know, 0 to 110 different levels, but you know, just more than 3, I suppose is what I'm saying. But anyway, that's the way it is, and yeah, this is the highest level that actually makes this race possible, at least in this car. It's there's a certain technique to driving it that I haven't fully unlocked yet. Being a front-wheel drive, you have to be very precise with the power, with where you put down the power, because as soon as you do, the understeer kicks in, and you have to make sure that the car's going to land in the right place. And in the past, that's actually been one thing I've sort of been good at, but it's not really been clicking with me recently. But yeah, it was always something I could do in the past for some reason, is sort of predict where the car's going to end up at the other end of the corner, even if I make a mess of the entry. But it's yeah, unfortunately that skill has left me for some reason in recent years. But anyway, we move on, and there's nothing really else that seems to be going on in this race, so let's just move on to the end. And move on to the end of the race we do, as we come across the line to take victory here in the second race of the GT Cup Group 4. And we actually weren't all that far ahead in the end, they were right behind us. But yeah, there were only 2 of these races, I believe, unless I missed one. So yeah, a bit unusual, but anyway, maybe they're planning to add more, we will see. Regardless, that means we have plenty of time left in this video, and we are going to move on with some more driving missions, and this time we'll be doing the Beyond the Horizon set. Alrighty, so we get underway for the first challenge in the Beyond the Horizon set. This one is very, very easy. We've got an old Porsche, we've just overtaken a bathtub. Just up the road, we've got a Honda S800, and then the Abarth 1500 by Posto BAT1 ahead of that. A very, very awesome and very rare car, that one. Absolutely love that thing. But anyway, we'll get to that car in a moment. First, we have to overtake the Honda S800. As I have kind of indicated, it's an overtaking challenge. All we need to do is cross the line in first, and with a reasonably fast car, given the age of these ones we are driving around in, compared to the cars around us, we shouldn't have too many issues. It is a Porsche, so I did inevitably lose control on the first attempt, so that basically goes without saying. But attempt number 2, the one you're seeing now, everything is going swimmingly so far, and we just need to find a way past the bathtub, and we'll get through down the inside, and we've got the move done, and the finish line is right there in front of us, and we're going to cross it in first position, and that is the first gold for us in this set of the driving missions, so we can just move on. The second driving mission is a rather interesting one. We have a kind of staggered grid where the slowest cars at the front get a head start, and it is our job to catch up to them. Once again, this is attempt number 2 at the challenge, so we'll see how it goes, as you can see all the cars in front of us taking off, and now it is our turn. 3, 2, 1, away we go for driving mission number 2 in Beyond the Horizon. So let's see how this goes. We're at Tokyo Expressway, and you can see the start-finish straight extraordinarily long, and then we've got a kind of more technical back section of the circuit, so that is where the money will be made in this one, where we need to be quick. So let's see what we can do in this as we head towards the first corner. Extraordinarily long braking zone into turn 1, because it is quite sharp, and we go for the move down the inside and get it done and move ourselves up into third position. So that's enough for bronze. Of course we want to go for gold though, so we need to push on and make sure we don't make too many mistakes. That's a collision with the wall, not going to help us out too much in our pursuit. That is the one good thing about these race style events, is that you can get away with touching the walls and barriers and going off the road a little bit every once in a while, and you don't instantly fail the challenge. So that is good, and it means that we can do things like this as well. You can use the walls to help gain a bit of time, and that's what we've done there, because we did certainly lose some time in the early stages of this attempt, so we need to gain some back, running way too deep into that right-hander though, and that would cost us a bit of time, but once again we can just make that up in the next one. So nice run on the exit, and we're trying to find our way around the outside, and we've got a nice smooth wall there. And that's the thing with this track, is there are so many places you can use the barriers to help you turn around Tokyo Expressway because they're all smooth. So yeah, no risk of it going wrong, except for one particular corner, which may have been where things went wrong on the first attempt. It was this one, and once again, of running there way too hot. But yeah, totally misjudging the approach there, and as well as the exit. So absolute mess at the kind of boxy hairpin thing going on at the end of the straight. I don't really know what it is, but anyway, we're onto the main straight once again, and here is where the straight line speed of this car is going to help us, because we're a fair way back, but look at the time we're gaining as we head along, and we're going to duck out at last moment across the line in first position, having to use every millimeter of slipstream that we could. But we just about crossed the line in first. That was extraordinarily close. Unfortunately, we don't have a time on that, but that was ridiculously close. But regardless, it's done now, so we can move on to the next one. And this next one is by far the hardest one yet. I don't really know what makes this so difficult, but it took me a long time to get it right. All we need to do is sit in the slipstream of a few cars and then get past them. When you see this final run where we did finally get gold, it looks, you know, relatively easy, but for some reason this one, it took me many attempts, either, you know, making slight contact with another car, or with the wall, or just not gaining enough speed in the slipstream for one reason or another, trying to get through all the cars smoothly without, you know, losing any momentum at any point, and trying to stay in the slipstream of each car for as long as possible. It's quite a challenge, but we do eventually get there, get the 250 k's an hour, and get the gold. So on to driving mission number 4 then, and we are in a Honda Civic, raining at Tsukuba Circuit, and we have to go from 10th to 1st in this little race. So 2 laps to get the job done. Let's see how this goes as we work our way through turn 1. No overtaking there, which is a little concerning. We need to find our way through the field very quickly if we want a chance of winning this race. So being very aggressive there, and cutting the grass a little bit as we find our way through the middle of 2 cars, and we managed to get both of those positions, move ourselves up into 7th position around about halfway through the first lap. So that's okay progress. We were trying to get to the inside there, no space was found, so we have to go the long way around through this double slight left-hand corners, and now hard braking into the hairpin right through the penultimate corner of the circuit. Now onto the back straight, and we will get another position here on traction, and that is easy enough. We move ourselves up into 4th with the 3 podium runners a fair way ahead of us, so we need to make sure we can get a nice run through the final corner, this long sweeping right-hander. Very tricky to measure speed through here, and tricky to get the line right. We made a bit of a mess of it, went a bit wide, but we have an apron there to save us, and it's not too much of a concern. So we are still closing in on the trio ahead, so let's see if we can make any overtakes on this lap. We have to, because we are now on the final lap. So here we go then towards the little S-bend in the road, and then into the left-handed hairpin. So we'll see if we can find our way through the middle, and we will just about squeeze through and put ourselves up into 2nd position. Not a great exit though, so the race leader is going to get away here a little bit. We'll carry some good speed through here, a little bit of understeer, missing the apex, not ideal, so we're going to have to be aggressive here. This is our last major overtaking opportunity into this right-hander, so we're going to have to go for the dive down the inside, and we'll get it done just about, but they might get a switchback if we're not careful. We're trying to slow it down and make sure we don't run wide. We get a nice exit though, considering how deep into the corner we went, and no extra momentum on their side compared to us, and we will manage to hold on. Now all we have to do is make sure we can measure the speed correctly through this final corner, keep things contained, and we should come away with the victory. We're hugging the inside line, make sure no one takes that away from us, but thankfully they are too far back, and we come across the line to take first position in this driving mission, and we've done that one now. On to driving mission number 5 then in the set, and this one we have to knock over a bunch of cones, and that is really all there is to it. That said, it's probably, I would say, the hardest, or one of the hardest too, in this set of missions. And yeah, we missed a few cones there on that first run, so that was not ideal. So we will have to go again, and as you can see, we are fast forwarding through many attempts here, because this one did take me quite a long time to do. So yeah, it's even this wasn't actually all the attempts, but eventually we will move on to a golden run, and that is the one you are seeing the start of now. 3, 2, 1, away we go. We just have to knock over some cones. It sounds so simple, but this gave me so much trouble, because the cones are actually quite solid. If you hit them head on, sometimes your car can hop over them, and that will cost you a lot of time. Actually, yeah, that's a silver run, so there's a lie. But anyway, this is the gold run, my apologies. But yeah, it's not something I really demonstrated too well, but occasionally if you hit a cone in the wrong way, you can, the car will hop over it and get quite a significant amount of airtime, which you just can't afford. But there's the gold run, finally, 14.8 seconds, and yeah, that is a job done. But that one did take me a very long time. We're going to take a little break from those to spin a roulette ticket, and we'll see what we get. This is another one from a daily workout, so let's see what we get. We could get a nice car, we could get a few credits. Let's see, we get a small pile of coins. Of course, we always get the worst prize on offer, don't we? 5,000 credits. Big whoop. Alright, let's get back to the driving missions. And the next one, we have to drive, well, it's a drifting one, so this can only go badly, but for your sake, I have edited out all the rubbish attempts, and we'll just get straight to the golden run, because again, this is one that took me quite a while. And to be fair though, I did actually get the hang of it eventually, and that is probably one of the better drifts I've done in my gaming career. And we actually get gold by a significant margin. We only needed 7,000 points, we got 8,600. Now we'll show the replay of this one, because drifting replays just look cool. So we will check this one out, and actually there's the thumbnail shot right there. But yeah, not bad. I was actually pretty happy with that, and honestly it didn't take me as long as I thought it might. Alrighty, we're getting underway for driving mission number 7, and we have a rally mission now, so this can only go terribly. If there's one thing I find harder than drifting, it's rallying. So yeah, this one did take me quite a while, and mostly honestly because of this potato head driving a Ford F-150. This guy has the situational awareness of a rubber duck, and is just generally an absolute pain in the exhaust pipe. So well, thankfully we were able to deal with him relatively quickly. Probably could have got past him a corner earlier, ideally, but anyway, we get past a little Alpine. He's a lot less of a pain. We did get caught up behind him for a little bit, but not too bad, and now we just need to speed along the next section of the track and try and gain some time on the leader, because the finish line comes up rather quickly, and we are a little way off at the moment, so we'll try and get there as quickly as we can. Now we're starting to catch up. They're well within sight, as we have a bit of a mistake there, but we'll straighten it up, power down towards the line. It's going to be a drag race. We might just get there, and we will, but that was extremely close, and if I didn't get it on that attempt, it might have been another 100 before I got that close again. That was insanely close. So let's have a look at the replay and see how close that was. We'll watch the full thing. But yeah, from basically this point, we're being held up by the Ford F-150, and I mean, to be fair, I was having my own moment there, but it's just so hard to overtake that car because it's so wide, and if you try and make him move up the inside, he'll just turn in, and you'll make contact and fail the mission. So it's very, very difficult to get past him cleanly, and that car ended the run more than any other factor. But anyway, that was a pretty cool shot, by the way, as we both went over the jump in unison with the Alpine there. But that was a relatively easy one. I want to see how close this is, though, as we come across the line, chasing down the Lancia Stratos, and see exactly what this looked like, because from the onboard it didn't look like there was much in it. So we switch to the inside, and now we'll see. That was close. That was ridiculously close, but we did it, so we can move on. So on to the final mission then, and this one is a fuel economy one, so we have to complete a lap in less than 2 minutes 5, and we have to get there on a very limited amount of fuel. So in previous attempts I basically just experimented in different fuel modes to see which one, what was the highest mode basically we could use, and make it to the end without having to lift and coast and any of that nonsense. And I found out that Fuel Mix 5 is the way to go, and sometimes we can turn it up towards the end of the lap if we need to. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we'll focus on the driving part of it for now, because that is obviously where the time is made. And you can see our ghost car that we need to beat. We don't need to beat our ghost by much at this point. We've been chipping away at this one for a while, but at the moment our ghost car is now back ahead of us. So given the lack of power due to the low engine mode and just this car not having a lot of horsepower to begin with, it's very important to keep up the momentum and make sure we carry as much speed as possible, and do not slide as well. Missing the apex there, that's not ideal, and that's cost us a bit of momentum, but so did our ghost car. So in general terms we didn't lose out too much there. Cut of the curb there, we can get away with that because it's the momentum that we need to carry, and that helps us with that pursuit of more momentum, as we're now really building up some speed on the exit. And now we have to get the brakes on, and we'll try and thread the needle through here. This is where momentum is very important, because it's the end of the lap, and we need to make sure we have a nice run onto the straight, and thankfully we've managed to do that. So a fairly long run to the line, which is why the exit's so critical there, but we do get the gold by 3.5 tenths, and that is the final driving mission done in the Beyond the Horizon set of missions. So we can finally say that these ones are finished, and we can move on to something else. That's another set of driving missions complete. So they haven't been too difficult so far, but they will ramp up in difficulty in the later sets of missions. So we'll see if the gold streak continues. I aim to continue the gold streak for as long as possible, but my skills are only so limited, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, actually, well, technically the gold streak's already ended because I couldn't get gold in the last super license test. But anyway, I still want to get as many golds as possible. We'll see. I have been on occasion trying to redo that super license test, but the best I've managed so far is just more silver. I've yet to get gold in that one. But while I've been saying all that, we've got two prize cars, a Honda Civic from 2020 and Mazda RX-7 from 1990. And with those two cars, along with a bunch of cars from the used car dealership that have slowly been accumulating whenever the cheap ones come up, we've actually achieved 100 cars in the game, which is crazy, and we get a little message for it. Well done, McPlayer8T. Your car collection now contains 100 cars. It's quite the spectacle compared to when you first started out. You're well on your way to becoming a legendary collector. Keep it up. Oh, well, thank you, Sarah. That is lovely. But anyway, that is going to do it for this one. So I'll just say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Made some good progress in this one, cleared another set of driving missions and a few of those Group 4 races as well. Bit strange there were only 2 of them, as I mentioned. Maybe there's more coming in future updates, time will tell. But until then, I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments, always very helpful. But other than that, I will see you next time. Goodbye. I almost forgot the goodbye.